Okay, here we are. April. It's not April Fool's. It's Tuesday, April 2nd. Beginning a new month on Monday. How about that? Let me have a sip of tea. Hot tea. Tomorrow I'll show you what tea it is. It's from India. From a 100-year-old family that grows tea, dries the tea, packages the tea, different varieties of tea. It's really quite good. If you're not going to buy Chinese tea, then buy Indian tea. I'll have to look for. I have lots of Indian tea for the next probably 4 months or so. 2 scoops at a time and 20 ounces of hot water. Probably 2 ounces of half and half. I like it light tea. I don't know. I can peel the top off of this. Maybe you can. You see how it is? I don't want to spill it. It's a light tea. But the cream, half and half is, when I was a kid, half and half was milk. 4% milk was the way milk was. Then inflation reared its ugly head in the milk industry. And then milk became 3% milk instead of 4% milk. 4% cream, that is. Well, when you think about it, when you go from 4 to 3, that's a 25% inflation factor on the milk fat. That's what the fatty tissue, the fatty stuff is what gives you flavor. That's why you don't eat a round steak instead of a sirloin steak, or better yet, a filet mignon. High marbleization is what helps I'm hearing a little beep, 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 beep. I don't know. Hopefully you don't hear that. Just came on. Oop, just stopped. Whoa. It's my shoulder pad. It's my hammer pad. If I keep my hand on it. Okay, it stopped. It's kind of weird. And, electrical interferences. I got all kinds of stuff going on here. It's probably my fault. Let me just turn this iPad on. There we go. You can look in the screen right up there. That's my glucose in milligrams per deciliter, also known as 127. But look at that. Look at everything's in the grain. That's pretty unbelievable. Now that is broadcasted from this little thing in the back of my arm. That's like the size of a penny, and you just stick it in the back of your arm. I don't mean stick like you're going to have an injection, but it has a little a pricky thing. But I want to show you. So here, let me brighten up the screen a little bit. Maybe I shouldn't. There, you see that right there? Siri, be quiet. There we go. You see that right there? 128. And you see that went to 128? The arm goes to the app. Every few minutes, the sensor gets pinged by the phone app. It's, it emits a ultra low, it's a special frequency. It's kind of like Bluetooth, but it's not Bluetooth. Ultra wideband, something like that. UWB. Tesla has just announced that it is employing UWB because the iPhone and similar devices. I'll close this down now. Get back to my lapse timer. 6 minutes, 28 seconds, and counting. That's like time sync to what's going on with my broadcast here. There you go. Anyway, the UWB is the Apple. I have one on my wallet. I've shown you before. Let's click this one more time, and we'll swap cameras. There we go. So we don't forget the date. Remember, inside my wallet, I have a one of those Apple. There you go. You can see it right there. Now, I'll take it out just for the effect. There it is. Bigger than a quarter and smaller than a $half. This does have a little compartment thing. It just this side is shiny with the Apple logo on there. Let's just get it right side up so Tim Cook doesn't get mad at me. There you go. You see that? Beautiful, etched. I mean, these guys, the attention to detail is scary. There you go. See that right there? Get the reflection out of there. The other side is just white. I think you can get, I don't know if you can get them in different colors or not, but I just put that with the white up. Anyway, so if I leave my wallet somewhere, I can find it on my iPad. It's an app called, there it is, Find Friends. No, it's Find My what? Well, we can find my, in the lower, in the, I gotta swap back. That's okay. It's no problem. Producer, swap it back. So you can see, let's move this guy up here. Yeah, I can move that right there. I can move it anywhere. You see here, people, devices, and down below here is a thing called items. We're going to click on items so I can see Daniel is a half a mile away or 3/10 mile. Brennan is 7 miles away. Bob Beatty is 112 miles away. That's my brother-in-law. Marilyn is 3 miles away. Lee is 709 miles away. But you can click on there and it'll go right to him. Where's Judy Dordell? Bingo. She's at home in Wisconsin. I can hit directions and it'll take my car right to her. Nuts is that. Oh, God. Well, there's another thing here called items. I don't know if you can see on the map here, but there's a face of Lee. The blue dot is me, all the way over here on this side over here. Brennan, you can see towards the middle of the screen, and no one south of Brennan. Maryland's on the beginning of the screen. And I can click items. Let's click on items. There we go. Now, what are we looking for? Well, you see this? There's a thing in the middle here, right above the letter A in Boca Raton. Here we can, put that in the middle of the screen. Can I expando it? Not really. But if I click on the credit card, which corresponds to my wallet, how clever is that, right? See my wallet? It says it's home with you, dummy. Now I can make it play a sound. Let's see if we can hear it. This is important because you guys should have these Apple things. Because if you have a pet, you can get a collar with the little, zipper in it, and you can just zip that up inside the collar, and you can always keep track of your pet in case it runs off. Or, let's play a sound. Hear it? So that's pretty cool. It's kind of like trying to find your remote control. There you go. You're wondering what that sounds like. That's what it sounds like. And directions, it'll take you right to where it is. And your phone you'll have an arrow and it will show you, you got to turn left, you got to turn, keep walking forward, you're getting closer. I mean, really, it does that. I mean, it's just like the movies. But I also, don't tell anybody. Quick off of that. I have another one. If you look in the middle of the screen, there's a little picture of a car. And why is that? Because I have one of these little devices hidden inside my car so that I can always tell where my car is. If it gets, someone decides to joyride in our new Tesla. Well, there's tracking devices in the car. Don't do that. You can send this information to the police, and they'll get the car. Because I can tell the police the tag number, and it's a Tesla, which that has a distinctive look, and it's black. Okay, it's a black Tesla, and it's a new one. They all look the same. I had drove one for 3 years. I just turned it in a couple of weeks ago, and I got another black one. The only difference is that it's a white interior. So, what are you going to do? Anyway, so that's the alternate use. You see the car? Yep, that's the alternate use of an AirTag. The other thing is, this is, put one in the side pocket of your luggage and name it luggage. Luggage bag 1, luggage bag 2. I have a couple extras in my little box of tricks down below. So exactly for that purpose, if we travel, I'm going to zip one of those in my bags. And then when I decide what kind of picture, you see there's a picture of the credit card right in the middle. You can see right in the middle of the screen. That's my wallet. Jim, it says it's with you, dummy. Now there's another one down here below. You can see. Let's do it this way. Get rid of that. You just take this tab and pull it up. Jim's secondary keys. See the key on top? So, there we go. So that's AirTag. I'm not advertising AirTags. I'm just telling you, it's a very handy little doodad. And I saw on the TV they had these. Let me take this out. Trying to get it out of here. It's like pulling teeth. I saw something like this. Let me change back and get this. So that's here it is. Producer? Change the view. There we go. You see that? It looks like this. And you stick it, it has a thing that you put it around your Poor dogs. But I mean, look at the size of this thing as opposed to an AirTag. So this is for the windshield on my car. It's called SunPass, and they tell you don't take them off your old cars. Just turn it off. Turn off the transponder, so that way the new person that gets the car doesn't have to bother buying a new AirTag. Let's stick that in there. I took this puppy back away. This is going to go in the Tesla whenever I have a chance to get in it. All right. Let's go to my photo display here. One of the things everybody's interested in is a lunar eclipse. A lunar eclipse is an eclipse where, the sun shines on the earth. Well, if the moon gets in between, it eclipses the sun's rays. If you're wondering linguistically how that... Venus is also above the moon, I believe. And it also gets covered up visually because of the moon getting in the way of the sun. And the sun, Venus is also in view of that. Anyway, so to get that. Here's a graphical depiction of who can see what on the morning of April 7th. That's 5 days from now. Okay? So these times are in the international time zone called UT time. UT time. Well, Eastern Daylight Time is UT minus 4. So that means somewhere around noon 2, 3, 4, you'll see it. And they have different red spots on here. It shows when if you're right on the dividing line between not visible and visible, oops, there we go, here's a better. So, this is, I hit the button. Remember there was red dots? I hit the button. That looked like it was over, the tip of Florida. Partial begins at 1:47 p.m. The maximum visibility of it, which looks like it's only, 100, 90, 80, 70, 60. It looks like we're only going to see, 100% is right on the dotted line. So the next band, so 100, 90, 80, 70, 60. So we're right in the beginning, somewhere between 60 and 70%. Let's say 65%. Extrapolating. So we're going to see, well, here it says 46.22%. Okay. 40, 50, 60, 70. All right, well, there's a little goofiness to the bands, but anyway. So we're going to see a happen an eclipse, which the intensity of the sun, so the danger, it's danger, look up. Oh, so here's, if you were to look at it, which we don't recommend, of course, because so what's the deal? Because there's a lot of ultraviolet light, very intense ultraviolet light around the outside edges of the sun. Okay? Now, in the middle part of the sun, there's the visible light. So, if there's a full eclipse, where that black thing is totally, I have a picture of that somewhere. Right here. You see that? Now that's the full eclipse. Now what you're looking at here is all the ultraviolet, X-rays, and all that kind of stuff. Look at that. There's a sunspot that's erupting around the outside edge. So it just so happens. I mean, it's like a freak of nature. How is it that the moon, when it eclipses the sun, covers up the exact disk of the sun that's 93 million miles away? And then all this ultraviolet and X-ray energy, which still projects on Earth. So what's the deal? Well, if all the visible light is covered up, it'll look like almost like nighttime. Not exactly like nighttime, but really close. It's like someone really turned the dimmer way down. So that means your pupil opens wide. Well, if your pupil is wide and you look at the sun, all those X-rays and ultraviolet is going to hit your retina and burn it out. If you look at this, you'll go blind. So I don't know what's going on with that. It's also imagined that during this whole crucifixion thing, that there was, they played back all the eclipses, and they went back, to the year, instead of the year 2024, the year 0. And they kind of determined that right at this time, they had a full eclipse, and the sun turned off. And everybody, was, we could still call that a godlike experience because, God created everything, including the earth and the sun and the solar system and everything about it. He created everything. Our entire... Anyway, so here's another depiction of a 70% eclipse. So the state of New York, what's the reason for this article? The state of New York is not allowing any prisoners to go outside to watch the eclipse because in theory, nobody should be watching the eclipse. You should look at it, with a pinhole camera, and you look at it on a disc. It's just something you don't want to... You can go outside and experience it, but don't look up. Wasn't there a movie, Don't Look Up? Don't look up. Really, don't look up. I don't know what else to say, baby. Because in our particular zone, which is going to look like that, just believe me, it'll be a 46.22% cover of the sun. If it was 50%, this edge would be straight up on top, polar top and polar bottom. This cross section right there. So the way you really do it is you use calculus, and you determine what the volume, what the area of this black portion is to the area of the full circle, and it's going to come out to be 46%. 46.22% of the full diameter of the disk, which you could call, 10 centimeters. It's keep the math simple. So the obscuration, how about that for a terminology. Obscuration is 46%. The magnitude is 0.557. And the duration is going to be 2 hours and 25 minutes and 39 seconds. I mean, isn't it? It's kind of like amazing, isn't it? Because we know the radius, the radius of curvature that the moon has, the elliptical orbit around the Earth. And they can just imagine the obscuration when it starts and when it ends. Now that's from beginning to end. And the maximum, so at 3 o'clock, it's going to look like someone did a dimmer on the sunshine. And even though hopefully it's not cloudy out, but if it is cloudy out, not cloudy out, it looked like the sun got turned down, 46%. Because all the visible light, 46.22% of the sun's visible light will be obscured. And that means that if you subtract that from 100%, that you got roughly 55.78. They should have rounded that up to 55.78. That's okay. They should have, had it the same. They should have had that percentage instead of that 0.55. They got that in percent, and they should have had that in percent. If that's 46, that has to be 55 point something, because it has to add up to 100. All right. So at 3 o'clock in South Florida, now you can see that's the maximum. This is the maximum. So the black will start over here. It'll go all the way across, and then it will come out on the other side. And then by 4:13 p.m., the partial eclipse will then end. So you got roughly 2 to 4. You got a couple hours from beginning to end, but you do not look. No. That's an important thing. So I took that graphic and I did a little edit on it so you could see. I can edit it a little bit more while you're in living color here. So the brightness is going to turn that down a little bit, and then you can see the bands a little bit better. That's better. Turn the brilliance down a little bit. Actually, turn it up a little bit. There you go. So that's really brilliant. And then I can turn the exposure up a little bit. There we go. That's an even better. Now you can see the greenish kind of a band over. That tip is roughly where I am, right there in South Florida. We're in the subtropics, which means we don't get freezes very often, like every 20 years maybe, which is a good thing, particularly if you're trying to grow. Anyway, so in South Florida, looks like 3 o'clock is going to be the maximum effect. And it's going to look like someone turned the dimmer down 46%. Or turned the dimmer down so only 55% of the light will be coming through. The visible light, remember? Because around the edge is all that nasty. And that around the edge is what burns out. That's what burns out your retina, and it will quite literally blind you. So you don't want that. That's not a good thing. So let's just do a little number on that crop. So now we have a photo all of our own of that. Should should be right there. And there it is. There's the solar rays. Those are ultraviolet rays and a variety of frequencies of ultraviolet, because ultraviolet's not one frequency. It's like a bandwidth of frequencies. It's in the non-visible light. And I have ultraviolet light, that the dentist uses, to whiten your teeth and all that. That's emitting, like ultraviolet, but the visible portion of the ultraviolet. True ultraviolet is deep blue, almost black. You really can't see ultraviolet light, and you don't want to look at it, because remember, it'll hurt your retina, because your pupil will not tighten up into a nice small dot. When you're in bright light, your pupil, the muscles in your iris relax, whoosh, and that lens tightens down when you're in bright sunlight. And then when you come in the darkness, the muscles in your iris open up your pupil. Well, that's the danger, because since the sun's visible light spectrum is being covered up, but not the ultraviolet light part of the spectrum remains intense, your pupil will be wide open to accept all that ultraviolet light, and in a few seconds your retina is burned out. You look at a bright light, like a flashlight, and all of a sudden, you can't see anything. You just see a white dot or a black dot where the flashlight was, because of the brightness of the light. Well, that's what will happen when you look up at this. I know, when you blink your eyes and all that kind of stuff to try to, so you can see again. Guess what? You're not going to see again. That'll be the end of seeing anything. So here's a shot that was put up on the internet of the lovely couple watching baseball with the two love seats right there, as you can see. And the reason for this picture was, you remember the little family unit? It's like a 1950s movie. Well, I have an app. So what, of course, me being the photography kind of a guy, teaching digital photography at FAU for 20 years or so, since the year 2000, actually. How about that for a start date? I was teaching in the continuing education department for a few years. And then in 2003, I believe, Dr. Harlan recommended me as an adjunct faculty in the Charles E. Schmidt College of Science. And with a unanimous vote, I was put on the faculty at FAU. Adjunct because I wasn't full-time faculty. I was faculty whenever they wanted me to be faculty, or whenever I had enough kids to fill a classroom, which was more. Anyway, so I taught digital photography had a wonderful time with it. Now, digital is like way out in the mainstream, and there's so many ways to figure out how to deal with imaging. But, my classes was always very helpful to everybody, because it may have showed you stuff you already know, but it reconnected you. And I taught you how to use Photoshop, which is like the holy grail of digital imaging. And most people, they shy away from Photoshop because it's like calculus. I can't learn it. It's too complicated. It is complicated, but I can show you how simple it is. I take the complication away because I show you how to do it. It's really quite simple. You're just afraid of the unknown. Anyway, so here's digital. Here's that image. Now I did some digital magic, and I'm going to page. So up, look at that. I turned it into a color. It took the grayscale and translated it into color. And if it was color picture, you notice the chairs are blue. I don't know who the hell would buy a blue chair, but anyway, chairs are blue. And the curtains are brown. But you see, when you look at this image, you would never know those curtains are brown, and you would never know those chairs are blue. It just looks like a chair, with a cloth. But when we colorize it, that's what it would look like if they had taken that picture with a color camera, which, of course, at that point, they didn't have color cameras. So we digitally applied it. And how simple was that? Because I have an app. I don't know if I can get it on here, but on my phone, I have an app called Colorize. And you can... Let's look up Colorize. Colorize. You see, and then right here in the top corner, you can see right there. See what it's right up there. Colorize. I got two of them. Do I have both of them? So this shows how to do it. Let's get rid of that. Let's do the other one. Yeah. There we go. See, look at that. So you can slide the thing left or right. Start now. I've already started. There's my name and everything done. So I've already done all this. Scanning tool. See how you go back and forth and you can see colorize, not colorize. You can take a picture of something, like an old black and white picture. You can shoot the picture with your phone and immediately colorize. You don't have to do anything else with it. Save 25% off scanning tools. Oh, what's that? See, then you can go through here and look at all that. But there's an app called Colorize. It's like scanning tools, like tripods and things. Or you can just hold your phone. You can just hold the camera in the iPhone 15. Is so spectacular. Anyway, so Colorize is the app that I used. It's free for 3 days, and then it's $30 a year, or something like that. So anyway, I colorized that one image. It's marvelous, but I don't colorize a lot of images, so you know what? I'm going to just bail out of that and go back to my settings and go back up here. And subscriptions, click on that. I have a streaming error for some reason or other, but everybody's so attacked. So there's my active subscriptions. I got a lot of them. See, Colorize, there it is. Look at that little rascal, $29 a year, starting April 5th. Well, guess what? We're going to cancel the free trial, confirm that, and then my see, Colorize old photos expires April 5th. So instead of saying renewing for $30, it says expiring April 5th. So then in April 5th, which is 3 days from now, it's going to send me a message. Are you sure you want this to expire? So I can still use the app. That's how you turn off a subscription. So as long as they're not going to bill you right away, you can turn it off. So don't be afraid of accepting the free trial, as long as it's in the Apple system. And you get the app from the App Store, and the authors of the application have to follow certain protocols. And one of the protocols is you announce the price up front. If you have a free period, then you denote the free period. and you allow them to buy at the end of the free period automatically. And you will also submit to having your app show up on the subscription list so they can cancel when the free period ends, which is what I just did. So that's just a little tip, a little iOS application tip. Okay, gun rights and all this stuff. Well, I saw this pop up on Facebook. No, not Facebook. What do you call it? Twitter, which is now called X. Which that's annoying, but it's Twitter. Well, it used to be called Twitter. Police. If the police won't protect you from being murdered, police won't protect you from being murdered. They'll investigate your murder after you're dead. What good is that? You're responsible for your own safety. And here you got this gal with a, could be, it's hard to tell. Let's call it a Glock. You can even see the rifling on that sucker. It's probably an ACP 45. 45. I suggest if you're a young lady or not so young lady, buy yourself, a pair of 9mm Glock model 45. Now, Model 45 doesn't mean it's 45 caliber. It means that there was Model 44, 45, and 46, 47. They have different, so the model number does not denote the caliber of the ammunition. Okay? I'm just looking at that, and it looks like it's a big bore. So the question is, do you want to have a small round going faster, muzzle velocity? The muzzle velocity of an ACP 45 is around 925 feet per second. That's the speed of the bullet right when it emits from the chamber, which that would be the maximum velocity. And then as it travels, it slows down a little bit until it hits your victim and they go, fall to the ground. Now, a 9mm has a muzzle, it's a smaller round, emits from the muzzle at 1,350 feet per second. I have a special round. I got a whole box of them down here. It's super high velocity, 9mm. It's a hollow point. So when it hits your victim, the bullet breaks up into 7. Remember, that sucker's spinning really rapid. So when it hits your would-be victim, instead of you being the victim, that guy's the victim. Well, a Hillsborough County Tampa judge, decades ago, told me, 2 in the chest and 1 in the head. You want no one testifying against you. It's as simple as that. If they come in your place and you feel like you have deathly bodily harm that's going to happen to you, which if you're a young lady or if you're anybody and that guy's in your place, that means he broke into your place. I assume you don't leave your doors open like our southern border. Shut the door. Lock the door. That's how you keep the bad guys out. Good guys aren't going to break into your house. Just the bad guys. So, and I got a regular lock on my door. If you got some really, really, really big feet, bam, you could bust open that door. You probably have to kick it 3 or 4 times, really, really hard. Unless you got one of those, big things that, that the police have, a battering ram. But 2 in the chest and 1 in the head. That way, the only one testifying against you, if at all, because they may not bring charges. Now, if you injure the little weasel or big weasel, yeah, he's going to make all kinds of lies. Oh, I was up there because this person stole my wallet. Yeah, bupkis, He's in there because he wanted to attack you, take your money, kill you, if you're a lady, rape you probably, because they're deviants, from our society, and you don't want to be subject to that, If you're wondering what this little red dot is here, it's the button for a flashlight. Pew! You see that bright light? Don't look at the bright light. You see that bright light? Don't look at it, because I'm not going to shine it on my imager, because it may ruin my imager, because this is a very bright light-emitting diode. It's a really bright light. Anyway, that's the button. I have a little... It's not big. See, it's off now, so no danger to your eyes or to my imager. But it happens to have a red button. So if you're wondering what that little red button was there, it's the tip of my flashlight when I just have it sitting on my desktop here. Because if the lights go out, I want to be able to, turn the flashlight on. I have little flashlights everywhere. I have a couple of big ones floating around too. And they're energized with lithium-ion batteries. Anyway, I saw this and I thought it would be interesting for you to see. Police won't protect you from being murdered. Oh yeah, they'll investigate your murder. So you're responsible for your own safety. So my suggestion is don't aim the gun at the bad guy and tell him to get out. Aim and shoot, because they're on drugs and they'll come at you. This is the other thing the Hillsborough County judge told me. Hillsborough County, Tampa, that is. 2 in the chest and 1 in the head, because they're so drugged up. You shoot them once, they won't feel it, because the drugs act like a painkiller, and they'll continue to come at you, and they may continue to kill you. So 2 in the chest and 1 in the head, they're going to drop to the ground, and you're safe. So if you have the legal right to shoot somebody, which you in theory do because they entered your space, broken your door, climbed in your window because you were stupidly forgot to lock the window, or they broke the glass, or whatever. The police won't protect you. So you better protect yourself. This is in liberal states. Now, unfortunately, even in Florida, where the police are revered, thank you very much for your service. We're so grateful that you're looking out after our safety, because that's what they're doing. They're looking for bad guys, but they're just floating around looking around. That's what they do when they patrol around. Other police investigate, and most of the police are out there looking around to serve and protect. Okay? That's their motto. All of them. We hire more police, instead of less police. Less police means more crime. But even in Florida, where there's police everywhere, it still takes them, 10 minutes to get to your place. Well, in 10 minutes, you'll still be dead. So it doesn't take 10 minutes for the bad guys to get you. So you essentially have to take care of yourself. And it's likely that you will not be prosecuted. It's better, we were having cocktails one night, Marilyn and I. This big, meeting. What a meeting! It was, just a big cocktail party. Let's just say it. I don't know if there was a speaker or not, but anyway, during the cocktail party of this thing, and I'm known to take a cocktail here and there. Particularly when it's a cocktail thing. So we're standing there with cocktails in hand, all standing up, we're going around. And, how are you, Judge? And we shake hands and, we're just talking. So I asked him, what the heck? How many times do you get a chance to interview a judge? So being the big mouth that I am, I started interviewing the judge. I said, so what do I do if these bad guys comes in there and, and God knows what he's going to do to me and my wife. He says, 2 in the chest and 1 in the head. Oh, God. And if he's at the front door, drag him in. Don't leave him halfway out, because then they'll say he was trying to get away and you shot him while he was running away, these prosecutors are... I'd rather be alive and worry about a prosecutor coming after me than dead and they investigate your murder. You don't want that. That's what this is telling you. You don't have to be a genius to figure out what this means. Now, it doesn't mean you go around shooting everybody because they're in your space. They've broken into your place. Or you stupidly didn't lock your front door or your windows or your attic, if there's ways they can climb into your attic or, whatever. We have basically, we've got bedroom windows. All the bathrooms are interior. So we got there's 2 bedrooms. So you got big windows for 1 bedroom, big windows for another bedroom. Big sliding glass doors they're all facing east. And then facing west, if you're standing inside our apartment, is the front door. That's it. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are only 4 places to come and go in our place. Now, 2 of them are windows with no balcony. So if you climb out that window, you could likely drop about 110 feet, 8 stories, and you'll get splattered on the sidewalk below. Or crush the bushes and go splat in the landscaping. So 2 of those egress, ingress, unless they're ninja and they drop over the top of the building and swing into your bed, that ain't gonna happen. That's movie stuff. No one's gonna do that in real life. So the likely way is they're gonna come in the sliding glass doors, which they would have to climb up the side of the building, climb onto our balcony and open up the sliding glass door. Now that's possible, but not likely. Very not likely. So, and the glass doors are, like 400 pounds apiece. So when you open them, so when you latch them, you're pretty much, they would have to break the window to get in. And it's hurricane safety glass, so it's capable of handling 150 mile an hour impact winds. So flying debris can hit that glass at 150 miles an hour, and it won't break. You'll be safe. That's the theory. Now, you don't want to test that. And the front door is the same way. That's going to take 150 mile an hour blast from your foot or a huge football player with a big shoulder that blasts through this front door. Because it's a heavy, thick door. So we had a neighbor down in the north end of our building. And for some reason or other, she left the building locked her front door. No, she just walked out of her unit, which is right next to the other door to get into the trash chute room. So she lives down that end of the building. They had trash chutes on both ends of the building. And she didn't have her keys because the two doors are like 4 feet apart. So she walks out one door, walks in another door, dumps her trash, and then comes back in. So who the heck's going to lock the door? Well, the door somehow or other became locked behind her. And she can't get in her own unit. She doesn't have her keys because who the heck carries your keys when you're going to walk 12 steps to get into the trash chute? They were using sledgehammers, crowbars. They had to obliterate the area where the lock is in order to get in that apartment. So it's not easy to get in these doors. You can do it, but you're going to have to pound hell out of that door. Or have, a super high velocity rifle, like the military would carry, and shoot the hell out of that lock, and it would just, blast through because it's a wooden door. So you shoot enough bullets all around that lock, and the lock is just going to fall away from the, where it connects to the frame, which that's a metal frame. You're not going to do much with the frame because that is structural steel. It is. You can't hardly drill it. It's the steel is so structural. I tried to drill a small. Well, I successfully drilled what is known as a pilot hole in that frame in order to mount just a latch inside the door, so that when everyone's getting ready to get tucked into bed, you just slide that latch over it, so no one can come in the door if they happen to have a key somehow. So you latch that sucker, and even if you have your key, you can't get in, because then you'd have to bust through this latch. And I had that in when I was living in 801. And it was so hard to screw those screws in. It was like 4 screws to hold in the part of the latch. And one of them broke off just by twisting it, a threaded, skinny little threaded screw into the steel that had a pilot hole. And it just, I needed to drill a larger pilot hole because that screw just would, couldn't get through it. It was, anyway. So you got to protect yourself. So Elon Musk, you're wondering what this is all about. Elon Musk basically said, most people still don't have an idea how crushingly good Tesla full self-driving, that's what FSD, how good FSD will get. The operative word is will. An adverb, will. Will or won't. That could be won't get. It could be will get. It could be may get. But will is future perfect tense, and will means they ain't there yet. Well, guess what? They weren't there yet 3 years ago when I got my first Tesla. So now I got my second one, and until I start reading articles about how marvelous, that's my 1 hour alarm. See, it's 1 hour. I'll shut up in a minute. So until I'm willing to give full self-drive, I tested full self-driving for 2 months, 3 years ago, and it was too erratic, it was too jerky, it was too aggressive going into a left turn, and I was afraid to, I was really like, because I'm, I was not willing to risk my property, which is the car, and myself from bodily harm driving with the computer having charge. Although they say, keep your hands on the wheel. No, you know what? When that full self-driving actually works, and you don't have to have your hands on the, maybe every 4 or 5 minutes you put your hand on there to make sure, now look, if it's driving down the highway, I can tell you this, just regular autopilot. They have two. Autopilot gives you the idea that it's not totally. It's like cruise control. It's like a super duper cruise control. Because it has 3 cameras in the front. It's got 8 cameras all the way around the car, so it can sense exactly where you are. And where everybody else is around you. So they apparently are getting close, but what are you going to say? Close is a 4-letter word? No, not exactly. But we're not playing horseshoes. When it's full self-driving, we're playing hand grenades. So close isn't good enough. You want to get far away. You don't want to be close. So, anyway. They're all crowding around saying, it's coming. And it's not only coming for you, but it's going into the Tesla robot, Optimus. Because it has cameras all the way around. And it can see, where it's going. It even has eyes in the back of its head, literally. But they're going to use the same computer that's in the car and use the full self-driving, but it's going to be, full Optimus, awareness. So it'll be aware of its surroundings. And instead of 4 wheels to control the speed and the angle of when you have a turn, all that kind of stuff. So you have actuators in the car that control the speed of the wheels, control the angle of turn if it's turning, on autopilot. Now, full self-driving is autopilot squared. It's a super duper 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 autopilot called full self-driving. Also FSD. So if you're just on regular autopilot, the actuators will be in control of the computer. You can feel, if you have your hands on the wheel and you try to turn it, there's the resistance. You can break it away, and then the autopilot will stop. So that gives you an idea, and it'll keep you right between the lanes. So when you're driving a long trip and you have a couple hours on the turnpike or I-95 or whatever interstate highway you got. The one thing interstate highways have in metropolitan areas, at least, is the lines that are painted are painted, and they repaint them when they wear out. So the full self-driving uses these cameras to sense where the lines are. And then it gives signals to the actuators, to turn the wheel this way, turn that way. Or when you're going around a big bend, it'll turn the car and it will keep you exactly between the lines better than you can possibly do. I have statistics somewhere in this write-up. Is it here? No. Is it here? Let's see if I can find it quickly because we gotta go. Anyway, if I can't find it real fast, I'll tell you. Here it is. Updated safety statistics. Okay? The Tesla vehicles are constantly watching where you're driving with all the cameras and sends mapping signals back to Fremont, California for all the time that you're on using the cruise control. So if you're using the cruise control there'll be one crash for every 5.39 million miles driven. And they've got stats, and they've done the calculation, and I'm going to assume that's true. This is information from Tesla. Okay. Now, the Highway Department of Transportation says the national average for crashing is one crash per 670,000 miles. Well, if you compare 670,000 to 5.39 million, that's 8 times less likely you're going to get in a crash because you're using autopilot. Remember, and that's just super duper cruise control. What I call super duper cruise control. That's autopilot in Tesla speak. Misinterpretation of autopilot. It's like a super duper cruise control. You still have to have your hands on the wheel. You still got to be alert at all times, just like with cruise control. But it's better than cruise control because Tesla has billions, would it be, billions of miles of saved history of where cars are on the highway when a crash occurs. You can get hit by a meteorite, but what's the chance of that? 1 in 10 million or something. It can still happen, right? But you don't worry about it when you get in your car because it's such an infinitesimal. Well, when you're on autopilot, you're 8 times safer than the average U.S. human driver. They left the word human out because, we don't have alien driving from outer space. We may have illegal aliens. They probably don't drive too good. Autopilot is really effective against illegal aliens. I'm just kidding. So even without autopilot, just because the Tesla cars have the cameras and they're going to warn you when things are, coming after you in front or, because when you're driving around, you can see, people walking around, on the side of you. You can see bicycle riders that are coming up behind you, over on the right side of your car in, what could be considered a blind spot, if you're not watching. But that all comes up on the computer screen right in the middle of your display. Okay. And the cars in front, you can count the cars in front, you can count the cars behind, and with their cars or semi-tractor trailers that shows different shapes of the things that are, next to you, behind you, or in front of you. But even with just the fact that the Tesla has a computer, 8 cameras, it's 1.49 times faster. So let's just round it. It's 150 times better than any other car driving because it keeps track. Now, Tesla wants to be 10 times safer. That's their goal in their master plan. That's what the rest of this text says. You can see it right there. I'm jiggling it on your screen on the bottom part there. These figures underscore the substantial safety benefits of Tesla's technology just in the car with the cameras and everything, and an onboard super duper computer, which is like 20 times better than the highest speed laptop you could possibly buy. They've hired engineers like 4 or 5 years ago, chip engineers from, the best chip manufacturers on the planet that put the chips in laptops. Anyway, so I remember watching this chief engineer, and he gave a speech, and he basically said, when you engineer a chip, he said, look, I'm used to engineering chips that get put in all kinds of different devices. So you have to keep certain things open so that it can go here with this kind of laptop, or it can go have different connectivity for that kind of laptop and all that kind of stuff. But when you engineer a chip for a single purpose, meaning driver safety and the cameras and the autopilot, and you don't have to worry about whether the chip can be used in different varieties of computers or platforms or different computer languages. You just have, Linux or whatever programming code you choose to use. It's so much more efficient to be able to build a super fast set of chips that operate in our super duper computer that is embodied in every car at Tesla that comes off the assembly line. And that computer, by the way, is going to be used that is being used in Tesla's robots, in the robotics, because the way Tesla looks at it, a robot is just like a Tesla car, except it's got 2 arms and 2 legs instead of 4 wheels. Everything else is the same. So all you need is actuators, for the arms and the knees and the ankles and the arms and the elbows and the wrists and the fingers. Those actuators have to be, engineered and manufactured so that they can operate. So there is interoperability with the supercomputer that's in the chest. You just take the board, turn it, and put it right in the chest of the robot, and you connect the actuators to where the wheels would have been connected into the ports of the supercomputer. The cameras for the eyes around the head, so it can see left, right. Got eyes in the back of the head. My mother used to say, "What, you got eyes in the back of your head? How do you know I'm coming up at you?" No, but Oculus has eyes in the back of its head. It's a robot. So Tesla's very, very conscious of Optimus. See right there? Tesla Optimus. No matter what you read regarding the full self-driving and the operability of its supercomputer to operate a vehicle is very much safer than a human driver. Even if you never use autopilot, which, if you're cruising on a highway, the nice thing about autopilot, is it'll stay on the road. So if you inadvertently, fell asleep, your eyes are heavy, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, or whatever it is, the computer ain't gonna fall asleep. You might fall asleep. It happens. I remember driving long distances, and I know what heavy eyes feel like. Well, guess what? That means your computer wants to shut down, but you can't shut it down because you've got to get to the airport on time or whatever, Just remember, Tesla's autopilot is 800% more accurate. Computer, stop. Every time I use the word computer, Alexa starts talking behind me. I got Alexa's out there in the living room, but behind me I've trained it to answer to computer. There's a setting that you can make it react to a computer. Let's see if I can listen to this. Computer, what time is it?
Good morning, J.L. Wilson. It's 10:17 a.m.
Computer, what time is it?
The time is 10:17 a.m.
Computer, where are we?
You're on 101 Plaza Real S Apartment 812 in Boca Raton, Florida.
That's kind of crazy, isn't it? So I can't the word computer because it'll start talking. And I don't want my computer to be arguing with me when we're on live. Remember, this is a simulcast between 3 social networks: Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Twitter Live. W Live, however you want to call that. Broadcast weekdays and sometimes Saturday, Sunday from downtown Boca Raton. My wife says, pick a time and do it. So I'm trying to do, it's not easy, but I'm trying for 9 a.m. And I was on 30 seconds after 9 a.m. this morning. I'd like to get right on a button, but I had a little software, hardware. I have a staff of 3 that operates this network. And it's me, myself, and I. So I am the producer. I'm the stagehand, and I'm also the, quote, talent on this broadcast that yaps along. As you know, I save these little images because it reminds me of what to talk about. See, UWB, ultra wide band. Tesla is, my iPhone 5 is ultra wideband capable. And that's how it receives signals from the this little tracking device that Apple manufactures. Called AirTag, I think. And it uses ultra-wideband technology, UWB. It's kind of like a super-duper Bluetooth, but it's not Bluetooth. And it's extremely accurate in delivering a signal that your phone can use, to find these tags in case I forgot my keys, or where did I leave my wallet? I can find it in the apartment. Your luggage, you can find it, even if United Airlines can't find your bag. You know where your bag is because you have ultra wideband technology zipped in to the suitcase. In a place that's not readily visible by prying eyes that are trying to make it so you can't see your own bag if it's a suitcase, or it could be in your purse, it could be in your briefcase. I would have one in every item when you're traveling, so that if you get separated from that item, you can find it, or you can give it to the police and they'll find it. You tell them where it is and they'll go get you. They will do that. I helped my son get his phone back because I used the tracking. He has given me permission to track his phone. And I gave him permission so he can track me. In case the family can't find me, he can find me. So I have it so all my kids can find me and I can find them. And as long as I'm paying the bills, that's going to be permitted. If you don't like that privacy concern, fine. You can disconnect yourself from our little family network, and you can go get your own AT&T account and pay your own phone bill. And then if you don't want me to see you and you don't want to bother seeing me, then that's fine. You don't have to. It's not a matter of privacy. It's a matter of security. We're family, goddammit. We're not giving permission to some, bad guy. But ultra-band technology is built in to all the new Apple phones, and it's capable of tracking these devices or anything else that's using ultra-wideband technology, which includes Tesla cars, because they are now downloading signals into your Tesla car that is going to use ultra-wideband technology with your phone. So the car can locate you, or you can locate your car with more precision, so that when you're walking up, around your car, and when you're getting ready to, grab the handle of the front door, blip, it'll unlock, because it knows it's you, because your phone is your key with a Tesla. They don't give you a key. They give you a couple of emergency cards, which I have in my back pocket. So it's inside this red case. I have my business card on the front, and then inside here, I can peel off this rubber. You can believe me, but see, there's a black card, and that black card is the Tesla card. So when they deliver the car to you, on delivery day, they give you 2 of these black cards. One for me and one for Marilyn. And that's basically how you get in your car and initialize the whole car computer interface with YOU, because that card, you just tap on the column between the front and rear window, and that unlocks the car, it locks the car, it gets you admission into the car, you put it down on the center console between you, and that's you. That's how the computer knows that's Jimmy or Marilyn. And then you say to the system, here's my phone, and you initialize your phone to be you and your car key. And then that card goes in your back pocket for emergency, like, you went to the coffee shop and someone stole your phone. I mean, that happens. Or you lost your phone. You got dropped in the snow or whatever, and you can't find your phone. Well, you can still get in the car because you got that card in your back pocket. And you just tap that. Even though it's inside that case, you can still tap it, hold it up next to the column, and it'll unlock your car and start your car. There really isn't a start button. It just begins to operate. And the computer and everything wakes up. Well, let's just call it wakes up the computer. And the car awakens and knows your seat settings and your climate control interests, whether you want it 70 degrees, air conditioning on fan speed 6, and your seat setting, how far back and how far forward, the tilt of the back, and, all that kind of stuff. It gets that all set up for you so you can put your seatbelt on and get ready to drive. But it knows that you're coming around this side of the car rather than Marilyn coming around this side of the car, because it knows. The computer knows who's coming to both sides of the car, and both doors will unlock if Marilyn has her phone with her, even though it's in her purse, because it senses she's going up, and it will unlock her door. And it says, "Good morning, Marilyn." "Hey, good morning, Jimmy. Are you ready to, it doesn't actually talk to you yet, but that's next. I can promise you. I think I'll tell Tesla to do that. When it comes around and I sit down in my seat, it should say, "Good day, Jimmy. How are you today?" Or, "Good morning, Jimmy. How are you this morning? Are you ready to fasten your seatbelt?" It should talk to you. Why not? It's simple commands. It's easy to program. I could program it if they wanted me to. You have to get into the code and code it. I used to be a coder. I don't know what programming language they're using with Tesla's computers. I actually don't know that. Anyway, they have people. My people will tell their people. They can decide. I think it's a good idea. If you're going to have your computer operate your car to whatever degree you decide to allow it to be used, then it should talk to you. And it should listen to you. Voice commands, it has a whole series of voice commands. I mean, I can say to the car, "Open the glove box, please." And then a panel will show up and I put in my 4-digit secret code, and the glove box will open. If you look at the glove box, it's perfectly aligned with the undercarriage underneath the dashboard. You can't even see. You go underneath the car to try to look at where the opening is for the glove box. You can't see it hardly. You have to look real closely and have a real bright light under there, or else you really can't see. And there's no keyhole because there's no keyhole. There's no key. It's your ability to wake up the computer. The computer's ability to recognize that your phone is you, because your phone is your key. I'm speaking Tesla language now. Your phone is your key. So once you initialize that phone, the person who delivers your car does that for you. Let's say a sweet young lady, she's sitting in the passenger seat, and I'm sitting in the driver's seat. She says, "May I have your phone?" And I said, "Is this the phone you intend to use as your key with the Tesla car?" I said, "It is." "Is this your phone?" "Yes, it is." "Can you unlock your phone?" So we have a screen that's visible. "Do you have a Tesla app loaded onto your phone?" "I do." She says, "Will you open up that app?" So you just touch the icon. I said, "It's already operating, but it's operating, for the car I just returned to you." She said, "Well, we'll unhook that car and connect this car. And then we're going to tell the computer that this is Jimmy because you have your phone here. So we're going to initialize your phone. Do I have permission to initialize your phone?" I said, "You certainly do." So she does it. She takes my card key, puts it down because they gave it to me, 10 minutes ago. And she puts it down on the center console, where your armrest is. And then she pushes one button on the phone, and now your phone is your key. So now you got the phone as a key, you got the card as a key. I said, "We can do that with Marilyn's phone too." She said, "Absolutely." So it's very simple to do. Yes. So I got out of the car, Marilyn got in the car. We got her. You don't act nice. "Can I just get Marilyn's phone, or you want her to sit next to you?" I said, "Let her sit next to you so you can show her how to do it." So, in case she loses her phone and gets a new phone, she can do it. She's probably going to have me do it anyway, but what the heck. So anyway, so we got Marilyn's phone registered as a key. And then the two cards, one goes in her purse, the other one goes in my back pocket. And when we delivered we returned our Tesla car, because it was 3 years up on a lease. And I had to return the key cards because they belong with the car. They're tuned in frequency-wise to the car's computer. And when you return the car, you got to return the key. And if you don't do that, they're going to charge you, $50 for a new key and to deactivate your other key, because they can do that with the push of a button and deactivate. They can deactivate the car. They can deactivate your cards. They can make it so your car will not turn on or wake up. Like if you had Tesla finance and you didn't make payments, they can deactivate the car. They know where it is and wherever you parked it, so they can come get it and deactivate it. It's simply just a control button in Fremont, California. Boom, turn your car off remotely from anywhere on the planet. Here's a sample of what auto park looks like. And the car will, it'll park right in that. It drives by and says, "Hey, I found a spot for you." You don't even have to look around. It'll find it for you, and it'll highlight it in blue. And it says, "Do you want to park there?" Looks good to me. They have auto park where you could get out of the car in the lobby of a hotel, and then it'll take off and go find a parking place because it's raining and you don't have to go do it and walk back with an umbrella. because you're under the canopy of the hotel and the car will park itself. On your phone, it shows where it is. You can force it to make a right turn or a left turn so it can get in the right parking lot, for example. But I mean, it's auto park. It can be parallel parking. It can be angled parking. It can be side of the street parking. As you're riding down the street, it says, I see 4 or 5 spots up ahead. Would one of these spots be acceptable to you to park in? And it'll back in, the turns and the wheel go. That's about the only time you're to take your hands off the steering wheel is when it's parking itself. But the car can go drive itself and find parking places. For an extra $199 a month, you can get a 100% full self-driving on a monthly subscription, and prescription drugs, subscription software. So you pay $200 a month, you get full self-driving. You don't have to pay the $12,000, $200 a month. Which you amortize that out, that's like an 8-year loan on the software. Reasonable interest rates. So it's $200 a month. They should drop that. If you really want to get full self-driving in the hands of people, drop it to $100 a month. And you get a lot more subscribers, and they get like an opportunity to use the software. You can gradually increase the price of that subscription, just like this price increases for everything else on the planet. It doesn't have to stay. It can be, $100 a month for, for the next 12 months, and then it will step up and get, to a higher level. But you'll have a whole lot more subscribers. And then you don't have to charge $200 a month for fewer people. You can charge $125 a month for many, many more people. And you're still going to get more cash flow than if you just kept it at $200 a month. Someone needs to talk with the exec at Tesla and recommend that. Because Tesla, Elon Musk, is really on a push to introduce full self-driving to everyone that takes delivery of a new car starting yesterday, literally the month of April. So if you've just got a new car, you can get 30 days of full self-driving for zero charge because they want you to try it out. That's how, and they don't call it full self-driving beta anymore. They call it let me get the right language if I can. It's not assisted. Supervised. Tesla's update from full self-driving beta is now full self-driving supervised, which means you got to stay alert and you got to have your hands on the wheel. There's an internal camera which can see if you're alert, and it actually analyzes, your movements, and if you're starting to nod off, it'll chime to wake you up, and say, wake up, Jimmy. You're not supervising the system carefully enough, because until they remove the word supervised from full self-driving, you have to supervise its operation. But according to Tesla and according to everyone that's analyzed this so far, this change from beta to supervised is a lot more than a semantic shift. It reflects its safety and autonomous driving technology advancements by emphasizing the supervised nature of its current full self-driving system, Tesla is navigating the complex balance between innovation, safety, and regulatory compliance. I think that was written by their lawyers. What do you think? Full self-driving version 12.4 is on the horizon. And Tesla continues to drive towards autonomous driving and a safer future on the roadways. And, if you're in a Tesla, you're very unlikely to get in an accident. So, and, I think, it's not like I'm a member of a cult. Now that I've driven the Tesla for 3 years, believe me, I was moving forward with trepidation. I was fearful of the unknown. And I had range anxiety oozing from my skin, which means, how am I going to get a fill up? You can't carry a gallon of electricity. I mean, that's a confusion of terms, but you get the point. If you run out of gas, you can always get a gallon and carry it back to your car, even if you have to walk a couple of miles. But you can't go get a gallon of electricity. Now, Tesla has a button on your phone that says you need roadside assistance immediately. Push this button, and they will dispatch someone to come get you. If you have a flat tire, if the battery ran out, it can put enough charge on you to get you to the next charging spot. Whatever it needs, Tesla has roadside assistance. If you want your car serviced, the car doesn't need any servicing. I mean, if you drive like a maniac, you may need tire stuff. Rotate the tires, whatever. Put air in the tires. Well, you should be able to do that yourself. I have a portable compressor from DeWalt. I have it right here. Actually, coincidentally, you can see it right there. It's a DeWalt. It uses the DeWalt battery, which goes in this place. I'm charging them right now. But you dial it up to 42 pounds per square inch, 3 bar. If you're familiar with the bar system, or if you're familiar with the pounds per square inch, its system is 42, 43. When I got my car, it was 44 pounds per square inch all the way around. And, runs down to 37 pounds. Time to pump up the tires. I had to do that one time in the 3 years of driving the other car. The tires look like they're brand new tires. When you turn in the car, you do the quarter test where you put the quarter in with the head facing down. And it needs to cover up part of the hair on the president's head of a traditional U.S. in circulation 25-cent piece, known as the quarter. Okay, I did that all the way around. All the tires had plenty of tread. We turned the car in with less than 20,000 miles on it on a 3-year lease that had a 30,000-mile lease. So they picked up 10,000 miles. That's worth $2,500, because if you go over, they charge you 25 cents a mile if you go over the 30,000 miles. They don't give you a credit balance if you turn in the car under miles. They just say, thank you very much. But that covers a lot of evils when they're trying to sell the car in the marketplace or whatever they're going to do with the car. They don't really tell you, and I don't really care, actually. They don't let you buy out the lease. They're not going to allow you to get in the car business. I did it with a couple of Hondas, was it? Or Toyota Camrys, one or the other, I forget which. They're very similar cars, almost the same price point. One's a Honda product, one's a Toyota product. I think they were Toyotas. I think that's the last 2 cars we had was Toyotas. So my son calls us, and he says, Dad, you need to go to CarMax and get a bid on your car. You just give them your name and give them your tag number, and they'll look up the value of the car, how many miles you got, and they'll make you an order. Phew, right on the phone. And sure as hell, they made an offer. And then I looked at the Toyota lease, and it said, you can buy out the lease, and your current balance is, $16,000. CarMax will give me $23,000 for the car. So they basically take the difference between the payoff on the lease and what they're willing to pay for it. And I walked out of there with a $7,000 check. So I turned, 1 week I turned in one car, and the other week I turned in the other car. I made $14,000 on 2 cars. Because that was 3 years ago. There was a chip shortage, this and that, and used cars were, at the same price as new cars, because used car means you have a car. New car, they don't have the cars. They couldn't ship them because they didn't have enough chips to do the final assembly. How terrible is that? So I ended up getting a $14,000 windfall. And that's what helped me get a Tesla. Because I had a few extra dollars in my pocket to put down on. So we decided to get 1 car instead of 2. So we figured out, since I'm semi-retired, I can always drive Maryland to work and retain the car so I can do my work that requires me to be outside of my home office, so to speak. And that's what we've been doing. So we share 1 car, and 23 days out of a working month, I may use the car twice. 2 or 3 times a month. So that doesn't justify having 2 cars. Why have a car sitting in the parking space in our structured parking garage if I'm only going to use it 3 or 4 times, 5 times a month? So, which is like once a week. So she drives the car almost every day. And maybe 1 day a week, I use the car. So, anyway, so that's the full self-driving story, the Tesla story. So anyway, we got this car. Crap, how are we going to fill it up? Well, it turns out a month before I got the car, which was a big help. It turns out my neighbor, I live in 812. Well, my neighbor in 815, he's across the hall and 2 units to the south. And there's Dr. Brian, and that's his first name. So I sent him a letter, and I put a Tesla car in the top of the letter. And I wrote him a letter in like 14 point. I wrote it on my iPad. So I type out this letter, and it says, "Good morning," or "Good day. My name is Jimmy Wilson, and I'm about to get a Tesla. And I notice you have a plug that you're using to charge your car." And I found out that plug, he paid the building, the owner of the building, the building management, he paid them $2,000 to run a wire from their, fuse box so that he could have a plug on this column right next to his car. And he says, that way, whenever I feel like it, I can plug in there and charge my car. How much would that cost me? And they said, well, the electrician will charge us $2,000. You pay us $2,000, we'll put the plug there. And they put the plug there. It was not separately metered by FP&L. So they weren't really charging him for, usage. He says, don't worry. He said, don't worry about the usage. We've already got it's one unit out of the whole structured parking garage. And if you ever vacate the apartment, whoever gets the next apartment, 815, will end up, with this plug right next to their charging spot. But how convenient. So I wrote a letter so I found that out a month before I bought the car. I ordered the car, but I didn't take delivery yet. So during that month, I wrote Dr. Brian a letter. And I said, please text me back on 561-416-1100. Text me back and let me know if it'd be okay if I could share your plug. But it's your plug, and anytime you need it, and I'm plugged in, just unplug me. Send me a text and unplug me, because it's your plug. But if you'd be so kind as to let me use the plug when you're not using it, that would be greatly appreciated. And he said, fine, no problem. So when he said fine, then I went down to building management, and I said, Dr. Brian said it'd be okay if I plugged in when he's not plugged in. Do you mind? Because I have a Tesla also. She says, no, I don't mind. Just don't park in his spot, and block him out. And I said, no, I'll park in the other spot, on the other side of the column, because that's a 9 to 5 column. So at nighttime, when 9 to 5 leaves, I'll just park in there, at nighttime when no one's using the spot. And that's what I've been doing for 3 years. And 75% of the time, that's sufficient to give us a fill-up, which means charge the battery to somewhere between 80 and 90%. Right now I'm charging the car at about 90%. I'm doing that for the next few charges, just to get the batteries, charged and then discharged. And just to get them to cycle more fully for the initial month or so. And then I'll drop back to, how cool is it to drive off and every other night or every night, you got a full tank. You're never going to use, unless you're a traveling salesman, in which case you're not going to lease a car anyway, because mileage will kill you. So as long as you keep it under 15,000 miles a month, which we're actually under 10,000 miles a month. On average, we're about 7,000 miles a month, which is half of what what you could lease it for. So I only signed up for 10,000 miles. They wouldn't let me sign up for, like some companies has a 7,500 mile lease. And I would have taken that if it was offered, because we were even under 75. Because, 7,000 miles, a year. I'm sorry, not a month, a year. So 3 times 7 is 21. So when we drive 21,000 miles, we only drove 18,000 miles. So we're like 4,000 miles, under, even a 7,000 mile a year lease, which would be 21,000 miles in 3 years. Anyway, I know we had 18,300 miles on the car when we turned it in, and we drove it 34 months. I guess I just turned it in. June would have been the actual anniversary, but Tesla made us a special deal. Turn your car in early, and we'll make the last 2 months payments, and give you prorations on that third month. Give you $500 worth of scratch and dent coverage. And I went $50 over that, by the way, because I had a dent in my driver's side door. And, someone bumped into me in a parking lot. And, pop, made a dent, which looked terrible. So. All right. We're on a new car. And everything is running perfectly. I'm glad full self-driving is now becoming available for everyone getting delivery on a new car for free, starting April 1st. I should really cover right through April 30th, because if you got your car on the 24th day of the month, you mean you're only going to get 6 days of full self-driving? It should be 30 days from whenever you take delivery in the month of April. And that way, everyone taking delivery in the month of April, beginning April 1st, will have full self-driving for 30 days for free. And then if you like it, you can keep it and do a subscription at $200 a month. So we're going to give you 30 days free just so you know what it's like. They really should have that, for 2 or 3 months free. I would do it for free. If you want to push the full self-driving, give people a chance to use it. And then they'll get married to it, presuming they like it, and it works well. That's the key. And then, they'll buy it if they own the car, or if they're leasing it, they'll subscribe it. You're not going to buy the software with a leased car unless that is guaranteed to be transferable to your next leased car or your next owned car. Either way. Why would you pay $12,000 for software and have it go away with the car when you turn it in? That's ridiculous. No one's going to do that. So if you really want to sell $12,000 package on a leased car, it needs to be transferable to their next lease vehicle. And if you don't lease another vehicle, then it goes bye-bye. But if you lease another one, you have to, like I did, you turn in the other car and you get a new one, and you drive that for the next 3 years. We'll keep doing that until I can't drive anymore. And since I'm crowding 80, that could be no, I feel good, actually. All right. That's all I got to say about this subject. There's a new... Look how they've streamlined the look at that car. I mean, look at that. I mean, the magic of Apple software. I've abstracted that from the whole image with no background. I just took it. You see how it did it like a flash? Yeah, the flash. And then it comes up, do you want to copy it? Make a sticker out of it? I don't want to do anything with it. I was just showing you. Bragging. Here's the new Roadster. Look how cool that looks. 600-mile range. They took range anxiety out of that sucker. And it also 0 to 60 in like 1.99 seconds. Can you imagine getting to 60 miles an hour in, let's say 2 seconds? And the engine doesn't have to rev, and then you pop the clutch. No, you just press down on the accelerator, and you go into blast off. You tell your passenger, "Oh, by the way, would you put your head back against the headrest, or else I'm going to slam your head into the headrest when I push. We're going to accelerate rapidly, so brace yourself accordingly." All right, sports fans. God, this is a record. I've been on the air 1 hour, 54 minutes, and 39 seconds, and it's time to say good morning. It's almost 11 a.m., and if you stayed for the entire broadcast, bless you. And if you haven't seen it, you can go to YouTube Live and find me, and I'm going to look up today what my actual handles are, but you could just Google, welcome to Wilson's. You can see up here what this tag is. Let's see if I can show you. I probably can't. It's going to come up again. I'll let it come up again. But basically, welcome to Wilson's broadcast on 3 social networks. And then put my name, Jim Wilson, and put YouTube on there. There you go. See the tag up on the top? Where it's at? Oh, it's in microprint. Let's make it bigger. There we go. Now it's bigger. Welcome to Jim Wilson's live simulcast, broadcast across 3 social networks. If you just type out those words and put it on Google, you will find this broadcast on YouTube. And the broadcast is really good on YouTube. It doesn't have a lot of dropouts and this and that. The signal integrity is really quite good. Facebook Live, every once in a while it drops off. You know, if my signal, my bandwidth locally or somewhere along the chain of bandwidths, but generally it could be from my own server here, in my studio apartment situation. The bandwidth drops below 6 megabits a second. Actually, I think 5.9 is the requirement for this broadcast. Then Facebook drops out. Whereas YouTube kind of buffers it until the signal, because there could be waviness to the signal. So I did it. I was going to put down the handles on all 3. I think my YouTube is FAU for you. FAU, the number 4, you, with an @ sign in front. At FAU for you. That's YouTube, so the 3 of them have 3 different, what do you call them? What I should do is I should put that in my message, in that message that goes across the top, when it goes across the top. I will edit that message and put in the handles so you could find them. And I'll put it right in the middle of that text message that you see going across the top of your screen right now. Welcome to Jim Wilson's live simulcast broadcast across 3 social networks. So I'll put the Facebook Live, I'll put in brackets its handle, and the YouTube Live, which I just told you is FAU for you. And the one for Twitter, that's a different one. It's like Jim W 5596, something strange. Because it has to be unique, and there are a lot of Jim Wilsons out there, apparently. So, yeah, millions of them. There are actually 6 million in the state of Florida. I did a search one time, and it bagged out at like 7 million. So, anyway, I wish you have a great day. It is exactly 11 a.m. right now, and we'll see you tomorrow. So you have a great day. Bye-bye.